Hey guys, welcome to Game 2 of the Finals in the NA Weekly Joust 3v3 series brought to you by HiRez and Smite Guru, and here we are in the banning phase of this one. You'll see on the Joust crew now, Walp has taken the place of Cute. Cute had to go, so they pulled in a sub, and that might be where Hot Plays can say, hey, maybe we have this chance here. As we saw in the last game, they ended up having a forced S6, Joust crew just kind of running the show the entire game, and when it come down to it, it was all in the picks and bans where they kind of won.
Yep, and speaking of picks and bans, Hot Plays throwing out the Bacchus and the Kepri. Joust crew throwing out Kali, I guess, so Hot Plays don't have any ideas to grab it. And the Chang'e, and immediately Hot Plays bringing in that Sobek. And Odin being hovered over in the Joust crew as well. So Sobek, a definite pick. See what Joust crew decides to run with. I haven't seen Wolp, but I'm sure it's probably a good replacement for Cute. Hebo and Odin immediately locked in.
Odin is hands down insanely strong, and the fact that it kind of slipped through Hot Play's hands, I can imagine that they're sitting there like, ooh, I can't believe we let that through. Habwa being picked up with that, honestly just having the cage to lock down pretty much any of the members on Hot Plays, and then having Habwa there to come in and burst them while they're there, it's just going to go ahead and be not necessarily an easy game for Joust crew, as Hebo is very easy knocked out, but he's going to be doing a lot of damage.
Speaking of letting things through, Hu Yi still on the board. Whether or not Wolf is going to ban them or maybe try to pick it up is the question. Hot Plays decided to go for a Neith instead, so prioritizing Neith over the Hu Yi. I guess people are just forgetting that he's not banned out. He's usually auto-banned, but in this one, picking the Awilix ban and the Soul ban instead. So yeah, Phoenix can pick up Hu Yi here if they want. It would be a nice round out to their team comp.
I know the Wheelix knockout for ban from Hot Plays was kind of like and it works with Vulcan and with Habwa. The knockups allow Wheelix to get her pretty much anytime she wants without having to rely on herself to get it, and those knockups are a lot easier to get than you would, than hers. So it makes it a little bit easier. Hu Yi being hovered over. Hu Yi, I mean, let's face it, he's probably one of the strongest gods in Joust because the geometry of the map just plays to his kit really well.
Geometry. But yes. So Joust crew are going to finalize up with the Hebo and Hu Yi. A little bit more of a meta pick instead of the picks that we saw last game. Hot Plays doing the same thing. So Sobek Neith. I'd like to see a Burst Mage. Again, I'd love to see an Anubis, but let's be honest. Probably Scylla. Man, maybe they'd throw in a Vulcan, who knows. Both of these teams have shown us that they're more than comfortable going out of the meta picks.
And that's kind of one of my favorite things, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but my favorite things about community tournaments is it's not necessarily God versus God matchups. Sometimes the matchups do have a really big play in the grand scheme of it all, but sometimes you just find somebody who plays a God insanely well, even if they're like completely out of the meta, and we're actually going to be seeing a Poseidon locked in, Alpha Sub-Zero kind of going back to that, reaching back into his arsenal, pulling out that Diamond Poseidon and the Neith combo back again, changing it out. Earlier we saw them with a Kumba, now they've got a Sobek.
Yeah, otherwise it's pretty safe pick for them. There's some other mages that could have picked into. We saw a couple of Scyllas yesterday. We saw a couple of Raigens. I wouldn't have preferred a Raigen for Hot Plays, only because super squish, Hebo would have been able to take him out, getting locked in by Odin. Even though you can go up to your cloud for the Taiko drums, you're still not immune to damage. And then, Hu Yi just shreds. So going best with the comfort picks for Hot Plays, not a bad thing whatsoever. I kind of favored Joust crew's picks over Hot Plays, but like I said, they're going back to comfort picks at this point for Hot Plays. So they're really going to try to step up their game, and with Cute gone, maybe that's the mental boost they needed.
Yeah, for Hot Plays, I think I actually would have preferred to see a Chronos kind of getting thrown in there just to have a little bit more CC, a little bit more lay down. But Poseidon having a nice burst, and obviously we've seen they can definitely do the Neith Poseidon combos. And as it stands, we will actually get to see which team proves themselves better here as we go into a short little break before we resume Game 2 of the Finals.
All right, welcome to this match of finality here, Joust series. If Joust crew can take this match, then they will be the victors for this week. If Hot Plays can take this match, then we will go to the best of 3 and put Joust Crew to the test. However, for Hot Plays, the boys in blue, Secret True Zero on the Sobek, Alpha Sub Zero on the Poseidon, and Reed Zero with the Neath.
Meanwhile, coming back out for the Joust Crew here, we have Phoenix's on Habla this game. Infamous Jesse going to be running that Odin, and Wulp subbing in for Cute, and he's going to be pulling out that Hu Yi, which we haven't gotten to see today yet.
We have not gotten to see. He would have been able to be picked for a couple of games, but people opted out. Maybe they just forgot that he was actually something you could pick. But we will now be able to see the Master of Geometry on this map. And what better hands than the Joust Crew? Infamous Jesse already jumping in, taking a giant chunk out of Alpha Sub-Zero. Joust Crew going in to show their dominance at this point. Secret True Zero down to half as well. Very strong start for Joust Crew. I
feel like this kind of fits. Last game we got to see Infamous Jesse on Ares, and he kind of showed exactly how bursty he was willing to be. And playing Odin, who can do a lot of damage, he's going to be super aggressive. After that Ares play, I'm honestly not going to be too surprised if we see Infamous Jesse kind of leading every single charge out for the Joust Crew.
Yeah, Secret True Zero looking really low right now, and the Bird Bomb almost taking his health away. Infamous Jesse is definitely going to be the charge leader here, and Joust Crew going to turn the side and look to Hot Plays Blue Camp.
Now, this is kind of the exact same thing we ended up seeing last game. Early on, they, damage a lot of the members of Hot Plays. They go, they take the red buff. Alright, well now that we've got the red buff, okay, now run it back, damage as many members of Hot Plays as we can. Okay, now we're going to go take their blue buff. What can Hot Plays do? I mean, they stopped them from... Oh, they actually did manage to grab that away from them.
Them from getting the camp.
That was a nice little pickup for them that's going to stop just a little bit of experience sticking in the way of Joust Crew, but they're just going to back off and go get their own blue buff this time. Not really wanting to risk the fight with Infamous Jesse so low.
Yeah, not yet. I mean... Odin, I would put Odin under Ares, but Odin is still a relatively powerful pick. His Bird Bomb and his maneuverability to be able to jump over things kind of puts him in a tier alongside Ares when you think about it. They're both good for different things, and depending on who you get in your team comp is kind of who you would pick from there.
Now where we're standing, though, we're about a little over 2 minutes in. No first blood yet, although not really for lack of trying. Joust Crew trying to get a lot of damage down. Odin Bird Bomb, very potent early to mid game, so they're probably hoping to get that going, whereas as all the members of Hot Plays here are just kind of sitting back. They're like, all right, let's not get out of position. Let's be really careful. Like we've said, they are down in this best of 3 series. They're down 1 game. So if they lose this one, they're going to end it in the 2nd place. But if they can pull this one back, we'll be going into a game 3. But now it's just kind of waiting. What can Joust Crew do as we just see Hot Plays kind of chilling, regularly backing and just keeping themselves alive.
Yeah, Joust Crew gonna fight this minion wave here and let their own minion waves go while all 3 of them back. So it's kind of just a pass and go at this point. There's the mutual understanding that if, like you mentioned earlier in another game, if one of them backs, or if all but one backs, then the other team can collapse on them. So kind of a mutual respect pass there at least. If anything, there's a nice minion buffer wave if need be.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, again, like we saw a few games ago in actually the semifinals matchup, I think Hot Plays is waiting mainly for this level 5. Having the Kraken online for Poseidon is going to be a lot, as the Odin Ring is going to come down. Reduced healing and a little bit of caging coming in. Neath going to get out of there, but Sobek and Alpha Sub-Zero are going to be stuck in there. A lot of damage came down from the Suns on Hu Yi, but it wasn't really enough to get anything there. And all in all, it was 2 ultimates used for 1, and then nothing really came out of it.
Unfortunately not for the Joust Crew. They're going to turn their sights to this red camp, whereas Infamous Jesse going to completely destroy Alpha Sub-Zero with the Bird Bomb and an auto attack. Even though we're not seeing a lot of damage coming onto like Secret True Zero with that Bird Bomb, it is destroying the Poseidon. So, if anything, Infamous Jesse has found his next target to pick on for this particular game. Secret True Zero going to back and, or at least hint at it, and Joust Crew wants this blue buff, or at least take it actually this time.
Once again, they're just trying to go for this. If they can take it away, then that gets them a little bit of experience in gold ahead. It does manage to fall for Joust Crew there. Hobble going to use the ultimate go through. Seeker getting really low. Odin going to jump in. Gets the cage down. So that is going to go a passive onto his stack. Now Hobble running in. Alpha Sub-Zero being really low, but we do see Phoenix is dropping. Whelp going to pick up the kill onto Alpha Sub-Zero. Reach Zero actually having to fall back as Neath not really able to do anything against 3 people, even if they are sitting around half health.
Not able to do anything indeed. Now, we did notice that was 2 kills inside the ring for Odin, possibly 3, I didn't get to see, but Reach Zero taking a lot of damage from Infamous Jesse again, and Wulp gonna try to follow up with the Mark of the Crow. Not gonna be able to send anything Reach's way though, instead they're gonna fall back and take their blue camp. Infamous Jesse is just feeding his passive at this point.
And it's definitely going to be very good, you know. Odin's passive is one of those things I think people kind of forget about, and honestly, when you look at the fact that he can do a lot of damage and what Odin Cage does and the cooldown it's on, it's easy to forget that his passive stacks up to 10 times and gives him additional power. And for Infamous Jesse, sitting at 2-0-1, that's definitely going to be helping him out. Bird Bomb doing extra damage now to Alpha Sub-Zero and Reach Zero, especially as the level advantage is going to Joust Crew here.
Yep, Joust Crew once again showing, albeit a little bit slower this time, their domination of the player damage. All 3 members of Joust Crew are the top 3. And the lowest member of Joust Crew is still like 200 in front of the highest in player damage for there. Walt going to be able to take out Alpha Sub-Zero. The ultimate combo with the Odin Ring has been used again. Secret Zero forced to lurk under the waters in an attempt to save himself at this point. Reach Zero just doing some damage control, trying to keep things out of the tower. While Joust Crew looks a little low, they still look like they want to fight.
Now, Wulp got really low there, but honestly, there's not much positioning-wise that Hot Plays can do here, because even if Reach Zero tries to go in, there's a lot of CC that can come out, and just honestly, just a lot of burst that can be thrown down from Habwa and Odin. But if, you know, they turn that towards Poseidon or Neath, like we've seen Alpha Sub-Zero fall, you get erased. You don't even have a chance to really react to the amount of damage that's being done to you. And, you know, the fact that we see 2 Sanctuaries bought on both these characters, it's not a big surprise.
Thank you for pointing out that both of them got Sanctuaries. I was going to say something, but I hadn't really looked down at the items just yet because Joust Crew keep it pretty interesting with all of the fights. Hot plays are good. Hot plays have to play really defensive to the point they're playing scared. I don't really blame them just because Joust Crew is so ridiculously bursty and just they're Joust Crew. And we've seen, you saw last week and then this week, if that's any idea of what was happening last week, then yeah, their reputation precedes them. Secret Truth Zero going to get picked out a little bit by that Hu Yi there. Masterful use of that ricochet. Even when they're not in front of them, they're still causing damage.
And as it is, we're actually having to watch Hot Plays use a lot of their abilities, mainly defensively. They aren't able to get the aggression that I feel like they want. Joust Crew once again going for the blue buff steal, and honestly, there's not much Alpha Sub-Zero can do about it when he gets chunked down to like an 8th health with just 1 Bird Bomb. Seeker trying to go in, but he's going to get caged and fall to the Hu Yi Suns. That is too ult to use for him, but at this point, they can kind of expend that. The blue buff does go his way of Joust Crew. Alpha Sub-Zero barely getting out of there with his life, and Reach Zero just kind of sat back like, yeah, there's nothing I can do for this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he can't do anything. He can't leave his tower. He can't stay in his tower. He can't do anything. He's been picked on so much this game already. He's 0-3-0. And he's level 6 versus the lowest member, level 8, the Hu Yi, the glass cannon, who's still gonna hurt you even if he was a level or 2 under you. So Alpha Sub-Zero definitely getting the raw side of this deal.
And this is kind of where Hot Plays really just kind of has to ask themselves the question, where do you go when nowhere is safe? You know, we can see Joust Crew dive under the tower at this point, and there's not much that they can do, although one, like, 2 overextended bout from Joust Crew might be able to turn the tide for Hot Plays, and 1 good team fight plus a Bull Demon King might be able to help bring them back into this game. But sitting as it is, 0-5, Infamous Jesse going to get plucked, but it's not really going to do much as the cage comes down. He locks in Alpha Sub-Zero. None of his follow-up coming down from his teammates. Kraken going to get used, but it's not really going to connect. It does a little bit of damage to Infamous Jesse and Phoenix's, but all in all, they got 2 ultimates there just for the cage coming out of the Odin, and now it's just kind of waiting when do Phoenix's and Wulp's abilities come back up.
Alpha Sub-Zero may have made a mistake here. As soon as he got caged, he popped his Sanctuary. Well, gonna be able to take out Secret True Zero. Phoenix looking really low here, but the Crushing Wave in an attempt to try and get someone. Phoenix will barely survive the Neath ultimate, and Infamous Jesse will be able to take everyone out essentially. Surrender Vote has been started. Whether it will follow through, we will have to find out. But Infamous Jesse and Wolp taking out this tower here with ease. 0 and 8, not even 10 minutes into the game yet, and it's a slaughter.
I'm not too surprised that surrender vote came out when it did. When, as a Neath, so for Reach 0 here, of course you're gonna, you will tilt really, really hard if you miss out on a kill just because you didn't charge up your ultimate enough. If he had waited even just half a second longer, that was a kill on Phoenix. It would have been the first kill for their team. But as it wasn't, didn't do anything. And now Alpha Sub-Zero once again getting chunked down, just erased, and essentially 2 abilities there from the Joust crew. And Odin Cage was used, but it's not going to capture anyone else. And now it's just kind of like, okay, we're still running this show. What exactly can Hot Plays do?
Yeah, I feel like the Sobek might have been the cause for that. Just that Sobek pluck pulled Infamous Jesse even closer to the already retreating Alpha Sub-Zero. The Poseidon was trying to get away, and Secret Truth plugged him right beside the fleeing Poseidon. So that gave him the area needed to box him. Wolp gonna be able to take out Reach 0. That was pretty much just an ambush waiting around that side of the corner. Secret Truth 0 gonna chase Phoenix. Not gonna be able to catch up though. Still 0-10. Everything is going in Joust Crew's favor. 11 minutes into the game. 7,000 experience in favor of Joust, and 5,000 and counting gold for Joust Crew as well. Hot Plays might be able to take their own blue buff at least.
It'll be the first. Honestly, I think it's the first buff of the game that they've really. And they did manage to get one earlier.
They get the first
from
one.
the very last tick, but as it was, they still lost a lot in that fight. And I mean, like you said, with the experience and the gold sitting where it is, it's not too much of a surprise to see the fact that Joust Crew is starting the Bull Demon King, and he's already sitting a little bit below half health, and nobody on Hot Plays even knows it. That's their Phoenix gone. They're still sitting down 10 kills, still behind, and tons of gold, tons of experience, and there's not really anything one member of it can do. We're going to see Reach 0 getting really low. He's at half health. Kraken going to come out, do a lot of damage to Walt, but Walt doesn't seem to really care as the burst is going to be coming down. Sun's dropped into the Odin Cage, going to get some damage. Reach 0 going to fall. Sacred Truth 0 going to be next on the chopping block as a Deicide comes out for Joust Crew.
This has once again been a show of force for the Joust Crew. They're charging in forward at this Titan, and more than likely it's gonna fall before anyone. Maybe Alpha Sub, maybe be able to help, but no, Titan's gonna fall right here. 12 minutes, 23 seconds into the game, 0 and 3. Hot Plays not able to put themselves on the board as Joust Crew completely dominates the second match of the finals. So congratulations to both teams, but Joust Crew will take the title for this week in the NA circuit.
And honestly, there's pretty much no doubt in anyone's mind that they deserve that top spot. After seeing how that game went for them, they just kind of sat at the top very heavily the entire time. I mean, damage-wise, they're still, again, above every single member of Hot Plays. Kills-wise, they were way above. Hopwa actually never picked up a single kill, but, I mean, with 11 assists, do you really need one?
No. The only word I can think of that comes to mind is just annihilation. If I had two, it'd be utter annihilation. Looking at player damage, pretty standard. Joust Crew, a lot of high numbers for 11-12 minute game. Unfortunately, Hot Plays just didn't really have. I'll avoid the pun here. They really didn't have the gumption and the cohesive, and maybe just even the skill to take down Joust Crew. Joust Crew just put out these very skilled plays, these high-level maneuvers, and it was probably over as soon as it began. Hot Plays played a little too scared.
But with that, guys, coming from me, coming from the players, from Tiger, everyone working production, and Smite Guru and HiRez, this was the Smite Joust 3v3 series NA Week 2, and with that, we will call it a close.
Thank you all for coming out. And if you want to play, whether you're in EU or NA, NA is always on Sundays, and EU is on Saturdays. So you can go into the chat. We'll have some links going down. And if you want to know anything about the casters or production, then you can get our information in chat as well. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you for staying tuned in to the North American 3v3 Joust series. We will see you next week.